Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM24 Youth Factory, episode 42. We are about to kick off our new season. No new losses, but a big, notable change of what's coming, and that's our progression. We have finally caught up to a level where one of the now, I don't know, 15 or so players that we have sold on over the years, we've caught up to one of them. Swansea just got relegated from the championship, and their best player, or at least a week ago, 2 weeks ago, was their best player, Sam Brooks, our former defensive mid. He was a young one. He had not been our starting defensive mid for very long, but he was fantastic. Really, really liked him. And then he went on to bigger, better things. 2 weeks ago, he was the best player in the league. And I'll come back to it in just a second. You can see his history. Oh, you can't see his history with us. It's behind the face cam. But with us, he had 95 appearances, 10 goals from 2022 to 2026. So he's been gone now as long as he was with us. He then went on loan, or no, he initially went to Tranmere Rovers, then on to Wrexham. 32 appearances with Tranmere, 13 with Wrexham before, there you go, that's what it was. He was on loan from Reading. He ended up making 50 appearances for them up through the 2030 season. He has now been with Swansea ever since. 75 appearances for them, just 2 goals though. So 10 goals for us, just 2 goals since then. He has not been played in a similar role as to how he played for us. And that was quite a few seasons. I mean, 4 years with us, 96 appearances. It was definitely not a short term. He is still 25. He was a straight into the squad kind of guy. Straight into the squad, straight out of the intake. Officially, on paper, like I said, over the last 2 weeks, he's taken a little dip. He was number 1 in the league. Now he's number 3 in the league, and he's right next to Wilkinson. Find out how good Sam Brooks is the easy way. There's Adekunle and Wilkinson. Oh, it's not exact, because Wilkinson is 1 point behind Adekunle. So he's right about a 120 to 125 current ability player. But you can now see that Adekunle, Julian, and Wilkinson put us right near the top of the league. Speaking of right near the top of the league, well, Swansea is their top 2 guys. My top 2 guys are all right there, right near that top end of the quality that League One has. And Swansea is, after getting relegated, picked to rubber band and go right back up with Rotherham as favorites to win. Preston also favored to go right back up with Wrexham, Barnsley, Sheff Wednesday, Plymouth, Burton, all near the top of the league. For us and the promotion teams, all 4 of us are picked in the bottom 7 this year, but they've got us favored above the others, even with the losses that we have taken, even with the money we have brought in, our record-setting deal on the sale of Davidson. Preston still have managed to, through selling just 2 players and bringing 6 in, make 10 million. The league's top goalkeeper apparently is Belcom, and Belcom, yeah, he's pretty close to the top of the list, but there really can't be much between him and Sam Julian. But otherwise, we only have 2 players on the Media Dream 11, so it's not like we're coming in and expected to do much. And our drop off, to that next group, I'd say through McFadden or Rossini, like that group's expected to be able to be pretty competitive for League One. It's then the drop off that has us a little concerned and has them picking us near the bottom of the league. So we're going to need to get this bottom half of the squad, obviously the bottom 2 guys, into the 80s, but everybody else, we're going to need to get all or most of them into the low to mid 90s early this season if we are going to be fairly competitive across the league. While the league's reputation may have lagged behind quite a bit, my reputation is growing significantly. I'm up to 3 stars, essentially a star and a half better than the club reputation at this stage. And my attributes have really grown. I mean, they're still not fantastic or anything, but they've definitely made some significant progress. The determination, discipline, motivating factors mean I can decently or adequately or somewhere maybe around good enough for, League Two, maybe League One mental coaching side. And then the individual attributes, the attacking, defending, technical, mental, and working with youngsters are all at acceptable levels. So the combination is, I'm okay as a coach now. I can legitimately take one section of the coaching at practice and the players are going to learn something. And with a mid-tier 55% reputation now, it's starting to look pretty good. And, despite all the vacation time and everything, we still have a good hands-on approach. We're looking pretty good as a manager these days. So good, in fact, that Burnley would like to have us come in for a job interview. Now, Burnley these days have been, they've got back to their old ways of yo-yoing with the Premier League. You could see that in the early days of the playthrough, they were yo-yoing, and then they spent a good amount of time in the championship before setting up a second place finish and an automatic promotion that saw them 14th the next year before getting relegated the year after that, and 5th last year in the championship. They're predicted to finish 5th once again this year. So we've got a club one tier above us, but fairly well established, and a yo-yo club that's looking for some new life. Superb training facilities, excellent youth facilities. Finances are in a similar state as to what we have, and where we are at the 1.5-star reputation as a club, they are at the 3-star, which matches my reputation as a manager these days. No wonder they are looking for something better, or something like us, potentially. Now, of course, I'm not going to take the job. We are staying with Youth Factory throughout, but it's nice to know that we are wanted. Last year, we got to the quarterfinal in the Papa John's Trophy. This year, we are in a much more favorable group than what we had last year. Cambridge United, Ebbsfleet, and then West Ham's under-21s are who we face in the southern section draw that we have. I think that's a pretty easy group to get out of, all things considered. We'll definitely have bigger fish to fry this season than an FA Cup, hopefully which is back, or a Papa John's Trophy, or a League Cup, as we have our eyes set on making sure that we are not in a relegation battle. It's been quite a while since we've done a proper check-in with our side goal, right? Obviously, we want to become the best club through our youth facilities. With a side story to that, giving it a little more context, a little more detail, we put ourselves on the very western tip of all of England, that southwestern edge in Cornwall. Now, it's been quite a while since we passed up Truro City, quite a few divisions back, and became the best Cornish club on the planet. Since then, though, other goals, other landmarks have been reached, and I have not given them proper attention for a while. So, for one thing, beyond Cornwall, within the peninsula itself, next up's Devon County. And for Devon County, there's been 2 clubs, at least in real life, have been the top of the pecking order. One of those was Forest Green. Forest Green was a team that had made it to the championship in the early days of the series. And in 25-26, they played in the championship and finished dead last. They nearly rubber banded right back up, but only took 6th. So a playoff spot, but didn't make it. And then took 21st the next year and wound up relegated. That put them down into League Two, where they had hovered for the next few years until last season. When we took 2nd, Forest Green took 3rd. And they have promoted with us, and they are right at the same level as us. Additionally, there's been not 1, but 2 clubs that have been at League One level from Devon County and are the top 2 clubs that are out there. And you can see their history has been a lot of League One, not a day in championship for them. And for, the real life time period, they're coming in as a just recently promoted League One side. But they've been stable in League One until a couple of years back. After finishing 23rd, they got relegated to League Two, finished 4th, won the promotion, and last season ended up with their first year back in League One where they finished 18th. So what we are up against is a team that's just in their second season in League One and a team in their first season in League One while we do the same. If we are to finish ahead of them this season, some could say that that would make us the best team on the peninsula, at least the further end of the peninsula. The whole southwest region, not necessarily, not yet. Bournemouth is the top team in those regards. Bristol City also is still probably somewhere ahead of us. Funny thing regarding those two is the location. Very close to one another, and yet one is in Devon County, one's in the larger area. Bristol City is up in the championship, and they have been there for the most part. They have yo-yoed to League One twice, but otherwise have stayed put in the championship. They finished 4th back in the 26-27 season, and they are very much a mid-table team these days. Bournemouth, meanwhile, have been a regular yo-yo team with the Premier League. Holy crap, have they been a regular yo-yo team many, many, many times. But now, 4 straight years in the championship, upper end playoff zone for most of those seasons, but not close enough to get back to the Premier League. Especially when you account for the reputation side of it, I think that currently places us 5th in the Southwest region among clubs. So we have gone from literal dead last to 5th best club in the whole greater Southwest region of England. That's fantastic. That's really fantastic what we managed to do with that. But our job, obviously, is far from complete, far from done. I think a mid-table finish doesn't necessarily bump us ahead of the two clubs, Forest Green and Bristol Rovers, unless one of them were to be relegated, in which case, obviously, that would put us ahead of them. But if all three of us stay put in League One after this season, I would think we're still number 5 until we build the reputation, or until we promote, or until one of them's relegated. And of course, the downside would of course be us being relegated. I don't think we're going to face that much trouble this season, but I really think this is going to be one of our tougher years in quite some time. We have 1 more year until we move into our new stadium. So this is another kind of holdover year, transition year. We lost quite a few players, quite a few first teamers this last season, but now we are comfortably within FFP. So we're going to look to hang on to more of them, though we have now lost Davidson as well. But the goal, not to lose any more players this year. The goal is to grow, develop the squad, be competitive, go from lower mid-table to upper mid-table over the course of the season, so that next year we can compete for promotion in our new stadium with hopefully majority, if not all, of the squad intact once again, so that we can continue growing and developing. And somewhere in this 2-year span, I would love to see us get our next training facility upgrade on the way, so that we can go from 3 stars where we're at currently to another half star to get up to that 3.5 star mark. And definitely want to see that reputation grow to 2 and then 2.5 stars over the next couple of seasons. And of course, continue to see our finances remain okay, stable, because that's been one of the trickier parts of what we're starting to fall into now. We're paying the players a lot more than we used to, though we've really cut down on that salary quite a bit entering this year, meaning it should be a lot easier to have a more neutral balance. But we lost quite a bit of money last year, and we had 1 possible cash in, but it was too big of a cash in. But now we have 2 possible ones. Quintafera, $2 million. Okay, that's down a lot from what it was last year, and I would have taken a $2 million cash in. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. His contract doesn't expire till 35, so he's with Bournemouth. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But Schmizek, it's way too little. So I'm really holding out to get whatever we're going to get. His value is closer to $1 million. I'd rather see us get that, 50% of profit. And he was signed for just $12K. I'd love to see him go for 600,000, 700,000, 800,000. Swindon. Wait, Swindon. Swindon's in League Two. Was I aware that we went up against Schmizek last year? So Brooks is not the first player we've come up alongside. It's Schmizek. Well, anyway, we are about to open our season on the road at Forest Green Rovers. So great fitting matchup. This is the closest thing to a derby that we've got going right now, especially after we both were in League Two a season ago. So we'll have just played each other twice in the last couple of years, and we've left behind the closest thing to a derby we'd had in a long time. That was just a rivalry match. It was not a local derby. This at least provides us a somewhat local matchup, and especially as we're playing like an hour and a half to our east, it makes it much closer. It'll be nice when our fan base does not have to travel. How do we continue to do when it comes to the growth? We went from 2,000 fans to about 2,600 last year. How will we do with that continued growth as that reputation builds, as the league level builds? We're going to need some extra funds, obviously. That's what we're talking about right now, is that, the finances side, where this is when we built the stadium, started building the stadium. It's still not done, but that's where we went from 21 million down to 11. Since then, we've just seen a fairly steady decline until we just made our big sell. But even then, we've only got up by 3 million in the short term. But with installments coming, that'll help. Maintain that balance a little bit more. And as I said, we lost almost 2 million last year. If it was a 2 million cash in, we would have been fine. But tax purposes, it was 1.3. So right now, we're at profit of 1.7 for the coming year. We definitely don't want to cash in that 2 million right now. But it looks like we can have a roughly neutral balance by the end of the year, one would think. So we're ready for that first game of the season, and then this happened during preseason. Sam Julian out, not ready for a fitness test yet, might miss, well, probably will miss at least the second game of the season, if not the third. Phil Hewitt also out. Earlston, our end of the bench squad guy, no big deal there, but he's only able for 45 minutes. Wiley, he passed his fitness test, and luckily Koulibaly passed his, because yes, both goalkeepers were down with injuries during the preseason, and fortunately one of them at least is available. We won't have to pull up a reserve for their first ever game. First game of the season, first game of our League One campaign. First League One campaign, possibly of multiples, even though we only spent a single year in League Two. And of course, we're at Forest Green Rovers, local peninsula club. And like I said earlier, probably the closest thing to a derby that we have at this point in time. A lot of new faces, either late into last season or new faces right now. Potter gets a start. Redknapp actually went down injured, so Potter would have gotten the start anyway. Redknapp unavailable, didn't even show up on the fitness list test. Now, Lanahan Pedris has played striker before. I'm not sure I've seen him score a goal while in the position, but Hassel gets pushed down in the box, and here in the 8th minute, Lanahan Penreese is going to step up and score his first goal of the year here on the road. Lucky situation though. Lanahan Penreese already went close, earned a corner, and then on that corner kick, we pick up a penalty and we lead here in this first game of the season. Opening day, can we now hang on to that? 5 minutes later, Koulibaly does not make a big save. He missed that one. It went off the corner of the woodwork and out for a goal kick, and they went awfully close there too. So 2 big chances already. A lot of XG for them. Obviously we have more, but most of that is on the fact that we had a penalty. Oof, that was close. We are not playing particularly well at the moment. Webb, for some reason, is totally not in the mood. Potter is not in the mood. Oh, I know why Webb's not in the mood. Webb is not in the mood because we sold Davidson. He had some serious attitude over it, as did Redknapp. Just 2 players. Everybody else got it, understood. But Webb and And red now. Adequate lay! Oh! Just wide. Just wide. Gaping hole. Keeper was like standing on the line. That is the easiest scoring chance Adequate might see all season. Lines. Laid off. Back to Lines. Goes far post. That was desperately close. That was definitely heading in. Keeper pushes it just wide. Another corner kick. And we're going to give up some goals this season from this first half. One would think we're definitely going to give up some goals this season. But we're going to score some goals this season. Now, of course, Forest Green is maybe a mid-table type. No. They're picked to be down by us. They're picked to win this game. But they are picked to be down by us. This is a team that just promoted alongside us. 7 on target. 9 total attempts. They've had 5. What a half. On the road. Can we make it 2 halves? Make it a whole. Second half underway. They are going to make a halftime substitution to try to change things up. We'll have to keep a close eye on how things progress here. Definitely nervous about Koulibaly in goal, as he's a huge drop-off in terms of quality from Sam Julian. Relatively new defensive mids, both getting the start, and of course are the guys now. Lines! Oh, so close. Krellin didn't have it covered, but it pulled just wide. Very close. You can see how just after the goal they had momentum, but we've had momentum since then, and we're already coming up on an hour. There's only been 1 shot attempt in this entire second half so far, as Wilkinson makes that 2 and makes it 2 on the scoreline. Wilkinson, our new starter, the guy who had eclipsed Lanahan Penreese, but I just could not part ways with Lanahan Penreese. Couldn't put it past me to relegate him to the bench because he had done so much, so good for so many years. Well, now he plays on top. We'll have to see if he can knock in some goals, because like I said, I had seen him play in the striker position a little bit at times when we've had to sub out Davidson and didn't have proper subs. Whoa! And he gets one. He's got a brace, but that was a proper striker's goal there. He's got his back to goal. He's in a hold-up situation, and all of a sudden he just, you're going to give me an inch of space? I'm going to turn. Just take one little touch to push it. Poor keeping from Krellin, by the way, but Penreese just drills that thing low. And into the back of the net, it's 3-0. We're going to win this first game. Koulibaly with a save on that one. That was not a very threatening shot, but someone with poor reactions, that's going to get past them. Okay, there's something I want to debut here in a moment. Oh, that one took a deflection off the chest or the forehead, pushed it wide. I'm not sure if that was Koulibaly or if that was the post that ended up stopping that one from going in post deflection, but here's a big chance. Bennett looked offside, but nothing. Oh, wow. Woodwork again. We've not dealt with the danger yet. Now we have, okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's go with the always press, but tactics, subs. It's time to try this out, especially with a 3-0 lead. We have a tactic that we have built, that we have prepared, the 5-2-3. It's essentially dropping our attacking mid into a third center back, getting a little more width out of the wing backs, but a much more ultra defensive low block style situation here. So Sam Lines does not handle this roaming playmaker role well, but he can play in that center back position, but not the libero. Switch him with Hassel. There you go. Put Hassel in the libero. And then what do we have? We need a defensive mid, Archie Jones. So Plain. Ooh, he doesn't like that role either. Cartney like it. He likes it a little bit better. We'll give him a chance. It looks like we're probably going to have to swap out the roaming playmaker and give something a little bit better, like a deep lying playmaker. There you go. We'll have to switch that up on our tactical board later on. But for now, still a strong attacking presence, but without that attacking mid, definitely more defensive and a lot lower, low pace. This is already designed to waste time. Let's see how they do. Well, so far they've already negated 10 minutes of play. Russell with a free kick from a dangerous position. We're going to get that cleared away. Whitehead keeps it in. Recycles back. Attempted cross is blocked and cleared, and Lanahan Penrys off to the races at the other end. He's going to take it towards corner, lay it off. Now McCartney playing back and forth along with Hassel up into a much more attacking position. That's that libero piece, right? And there you go. Wow. Just one highlight was all we got from that. So far, so good. As they needed to be coming at us. They got to about 1 on the XG. They deserved a goal today, but we deserved the 3 we got. Good goals that back-to-back early in the second half was all we needed to see this one out. But really good ratings across the board from the team. Of course, you're going to get that when you win 3-0, but I don't know how many times we're going to replicate that type of result this season. And again, this is a fellow promoted side, the team that finished just behind us in the standings. It's not the top opposition. They are amongst the relegation favorites. So it's a big 3 points, but it's not a big 3 points. But season is underway. Team is resolved. We still have everyone here, and a lot of the offers have dried up. For example, Sam Julian broke his leg, has been out for more than a month, and is still going to be out for a couple more weeks. That's helped. That's helped with getting less offers. Wilkinson offers are still coming in. There's other guys still getting offers, but the early summer stuff of like, hey, there's a guy on our radar, and we just said no, and they moved on. So a lot of guys are getting less offers right now than they were a month ago. Hopefully it stays like that. We've got a deadline coming up, and of course that's going to pick back up most likely. But hopefully we can hang on to the team we have now, because we've already got a lot of holes that we are filling. We're at a higher level. It's not going to be an easy season, that's for sure. But it was an easy win to open the season. That's for sure. I'll take that. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.